Welcome to the first ranking of the year of 2024. And well, I thought I would start it out big with a big discography, which is Cannibal Corpse, released an album last year, and yes, it does include Chaos Horrific. Not going to be going too much into detail with that album because, yeah, I just did a fan perspective on that one. So, fair warning there. I won't go into details about the one at number 16 too much, but yeah, 16 studio albums, all of them being fucking great. I don't dislike any of them. I do have my opinions, and I think that some of them are a little bit lacking. But, yeah. Number 16, or the last place, is 2017's Red Before Black. Reason this one is my least favorite is it's not memorable whatsoever. I don't really ever remember any tracks from it. I'm like, when I go back to it, I'm like, I haven't heard this one in forever, basically. I can enjoy it when I rarely listen to it, but yeah, I rarely go back to this album. Best song is the title track, Red Before Black, of course. They played that one, I think, twice, and I've seen them twice, so that was one of the songs they like to play live. It's like a big thing on their live set. Number 15 is, well, the one I put last time. Yeah, this one is up there with my least favorites. The songs have a huge memorability problem, and in a stacked discography, this makes an album quite forgettable. Really, if you have a lot of material in a discography and you have an album that basically has a lot of forgetful stuff, you're not going to really go back to it. There is some memorable ones like Hatchet to the Head, Pit of Zombies, and Drowning in Viscera, Hung in Blood. There's a lot of good ones on here, but a lot of ones that you kind of forget about. Best song on the album is Hatchet to the Head. The opener, Savage Butchery, is just another tap on the fucking another reason why to listen to this one. Last one, Red Before Black, was a 8 out of 10. This one is an 8.4 out of 10. Number 14 might be controversial, might not. I've seen a lot of people have this one last on their list, which is Vile, the first one with Corpse Grinder. First album with Corpse Grinder, but still written like a Barnes album, which the fact it has the Barnes feel with the Corpse Grinder vocals really doesn't work in spots, and you can, yeah, it really brings it down, but I still like it. The sound of the album is a change from the Bleeding in the fact it sounds like what Cannibal would become, but not as intense, not as crazy is what they would become. Vile is a transitional piece from the old school to the new, and for some reason I just don't revisit it as often, but when I do, I fucking enjoy it. Greatest song on Vile has to be Mummified in Barbed Wire, followed by Eating from the Inside. Another one is Devoured by Vermin. That fucking scream at the front of the song, just, oh. That was the introduction to Corpse Grinder with fucking Cannibal Corpse back when this one came out, before I was born. Yeah, ranking albums that came out way before I was born. So, yeah, everybody's introduction to Corpse Grinder was that fucking scream, and so yeah. Welcome, welcome. It's gonna get fucking crazy. Number 13 is another one that's going to piss a lot of people off, or might not, I don't know, which is 13's Butchered at Birth, the second studio album from Cannibal Corpse, and well, as you can see, it's nowhere near my favorite. While not being a bad album in any way, I find myself listening to it not that often, as there's just so many other options with Cannibal Corpse. Vile got 9.1, by the way. Sorry. I fucked that up again. But I cannot argue the classic status of the album, and it deserves it. The songs are pretty good, but nowhere near as memorable as the album before it and the one after it. Spoiler alert for those ones. Best song here is Covered with Sores. 9.4 out of 10. It's still really fucking high. But, yeah, in a stacked discography, yeah, they were still coming into their own. Number 12 is going to be A Skeletal Domain from 2014. Some absolute bangers on this album, and some others that I'd say are just there. This album I heard this is my introduction to this band. This was the first one I picked up at the record store when it came out back in 2014. I went to the record store and seen Cannibal Corpse. I was like, oh, what is this? Bought it. And yeah, it was the newest out at the time of me discovering Cannibal Corpse. For some reason, I don't have that special connection as I do with other introduction records. But yeah, I like this album, but I prefer others over it. Best songs, the big songs include Killer Be Calm, Ice Pick Lobotomy, and Vector of Cruelty. But the best on this one has to be Hollowed Bodies, the last one, the send-off song. That has got to be one of the fucking craziest riffs I've ever heard in my life. And, like, looking it up and how to play it, it's like, oh my god. Like, really. It's fucking nuts on how to play that song. 9.5 out of 10. Still pretty good. High on the list and would basically be a big record for any band. But it's Cannibal Corpse, and it's a late career record. Number 11 is going to be Eaten Back to Life from 1990. The legendary debut that shows what was to come. It may be blasphemous to have it this low on the list. I know a lot of people would have it in the top 10, but it's there for a reason. There's just way better stuff in the future. And it's kind of like the pre-cannibal sound that has a little bit of thrash in there. I feel people have too much of rose-colored glasses to see past nostalgia for this record. The tone of the album has a thrashy thing going on, which is different from their others and shows they are still finding their sound, but still fucking great, honestly. Best song on the album is Shredded Humans. Other ones that I like is Born in a Casket, Put Them to Death, Edible Autopsy, Scattered Remains, basically the whole record. But yeah, 9.6 out of 10. Everything above here, the top 10 is 10 out of 10. So, yeah. I like it, but not as much as the ones in the top 10. Number 10 is going to be Bloodthirst. Yes, this one made my top 10. I don't know how, but it did. It just basically fell here. I feel like Bloodthirst has a problem with being in the middle of their discography, as the album goes fairly under the radar with fans and people getting into them. The album has a nice bite to it, but nothing to stand out about it. Basically a basic Cannibal Corpse record, but the thing is with this album, especially when comparing it to their previous album and some of their others, I know a lot of people hate their previous album. I like that album, so yeah, that's going to be a fun one to see what people say about the Gallery being higher up on the list, but it's a fun listen and an album I really never get sick of. So it's got to be the first 10 out of 10. Best song here is Blowtorch Slaughter. Fucking epic song, Blowtorch Slaughter. Other ones are Spine Splitter, and Raped by the Beast. Those are other good songs on this one. Now we go to Kill at number 9. I tried not to spoil it, but I did. Kill at number 9. Kill is better than I remember it being, as it has a bold sound to it, which it has some of Cannibal Corpse's best riffs. It's different. It's a different feel from the ones before it, mainly because of Eric Rutan being he's their current guitarist, but was the producer for this album. So he had something to do with Cannibal Corpse before he became the guitarist of this band, which was producing a couple records for them, and this is one of them. And just to say, that made a whole lot of fucking difference, because holy shit, this went from, they already hit a high with the one that came out before it, but yeah. Corpse Grinder is a fucking presence on this album, with his vocals being fast and hellish, especially on Make Them Suffer. Any other band, this album would be my favorite, but Cannibal Corpse has some absolute masterpieces in their discography, which this album is. At number 9, I consider this one a masterpiece. Best song on Kill is Barbaric Bludgeonings. Fucking epic song. Epic riffs on that one. Other ones that I would like to mention is Brain Removal Device, Purification Through Fire, 5 Nails Through the Neck, Submerged in Boiling Flesh. Fucking love this record. Honestly, people either love that album or hate that album. Now we go to more blasphemy, which number 8 is The Bleeding from 1994, the last album with Chris Barnes on vocals, and it shows his vocal change and what the vocals on 6 Feet Under would sound like. I'm going to mention 6 Feet Under because mentioning 6 Feet Under is what you have to do when you talk about The Bleeding. Like Tomb the Mutilated, the sound is big and bold with a more groove-focused style, which is different from Tomb. The Bleeding is a stand-alone album in the fact it sounds different from their other albums. The songs are classics and are played quite regularly live. The best song here is The Pickaxe Murders. Absolutely love that one. The one that they usually play live is Stripped, Raped, and Strangled. They usually play that one quite often. And I would love for them to play She Was Asking For It. That's one of the ones I'd like them to try to play live when I see them. Staring Through the Eyes of the Dead. That one has a video for it. Fucked with a Knife. That's another one they play. They played it back in 2017 when I seen them. So yeah. Cannibal Corpse is The Bleeding at number 8. Now we go to the one that I mentioned before, which not a lot of people are going to like this one here at number 7, which is Gallery of Suicide from 1998. Hear me out. Maybe a bad take, but this album gets way more hate than it deserves. Corpse Grinder's vocals are so nasty on this album, which adds to how great I think Gallery of Suicide is. It has everything Vile has and more, did everything that Vile did, but better, and the songs are written for Corpse Grinder, unlike Vile. The non-hits are better than what the hits are, in my opinion, on this album, as songs like the title track, Dismembered and Molested, Every Bone Broken, and Unite the Dead really fucking rip. But the best song, I have to say, is Blood Drenched Execution. A lot of people don't give this album a lot of credit, and it's kind of sad that they don't, but I honestly think this is one of their best for that time. It really does show what they were getting into and started that whole blasting type thing the more intense riffing that they were doing. Number 6, Chaos Horrific from 2023. The newest album from Cannibal Corpse. For this album, it being new, I like it more than some of their classics. I do think it will. I don't think this one will ever get classic status because, it's a later album, but yeah. I'm not going to go much into detail with this, as I made a fan perspective on it. If you wanted to know more, check that one out. I'm going to go move past it a little bit because the video's kind of getting long. Number 5, Tomb of the Mutilated from 1992. A huge step up from Butchered at Birth. This album has a bold sound, the most controversial lyrics, and grabbing riffs that make it a classic. It's one banger song after another, with the first 2 songs being Cannibal's most popular ever, being Hammer Smash Face and I Come Blood. Not my favorites, but still fucking great and still fun to see those ones played live. I don't think they ever play any other ones except those 2 off this album, which is kind of fucking sad because some of these fucking songs are so great. The songs besides the first 2 are often overlooked with the same quality. The vocals are fitting of the grimy sound. The guitar tone is ear-ripping, making the album a must when talking early 90s death metal. Best song here is The Cryptic Stench. Would love to see that one live. Probably will never. But yeah, The Cryptic Stench, fucking epic song. Other ones, I would say Intro's Ripped from a Virgin's Cunt, another good one on this album as well. Postmodal Ejaculation, Split Wide Open, a lot of fucked up song titles and a lot of fucked up lyrics, but still fucking great. Yeah, if you don't like that stuff, don't fucking listen to death metal. That's all I gotta say. If you don't like that shit, don't listen to death metal. Number 4, Evisceration Plague from 2009. Another hot take, and one I don't think should be a hot take. It has the sound Kill has with a little more groove to it. I've watched the making of DVD of this one, of Evisceration Plague, and seeing how they made the album makes it more special, including the one I put at number 1. I watched that one as well. Seeing the creative gears turning in the minds of the Cannibal Corpse guys, this definitely give this album a little more special. Evisceration Plague has some of their more underrated songs for Cannibal Corpse, especially Evidence in the Furnace, Scalding Hail, and Cauldron of Hate, and even Unnatural. The Evisceration Plague title track is one of the biggest songs they ever made, and is a staple of their live set. But, however, Carrion Sculpted Entity is gotta be my favorite from this one. I just love that song, just love how hard it hits. And yeah, I just love the sound of this album. Coming in to the top 3. The top 3 are some of my favorite albums of all time. Like, honestly, some of the greatest ones ever created, which number 3 is going to be Violence Unimagined from 2021. First one with Eric Rutan on guitar, and definitely has a different flavor than what their previous one had. That one was my least favorite. The riffs have a new flair to them, not seen on albums before it. Corpse Grinder goes a different kind of delivery on songs, and overall, the album sounds fresh. I feel like the formula changed quite a bit from my least favorite being Red Before Black. That album was very not memorable, but compared to this one's a huge step up from it. Is a good evolution from Cannibal Corpse. Sounds like songs like Follow the Blind, Bound and Burn, and that fucking killer opener, Murderous Rampage, makes this one of my favorites. But Inhumane Harvest is just on a whole nother level. It's one of the best Cannibal Corpse songs of all time. It's just got a sick fucking sound to it. That solo that's on that album, on that song, it just rips, honestly. Number 2 is Torture from 2012. This is a usual suspect when talking favorite Cannibal Corpse albums. I see a lot of people put this one as their favorite, but it used to be. Used to be my favorite, but now firmly in second, continuing from the destruction Evisceration Plague made. Torture is a better version of Evisceration Plague, basically. The vocals are the same Cannibal Corpse Grinder vocals we all know and love. The guitar tone is basically the same, but has more of a bite to it, and Alex Webster really lays down some fucking crazy bass parts on this one. My favorite song on Torture is Encased in Concrete, as it's up there with some of their all-time best songs. Scourge of Iron is also a noteworthy song, as it's their live opener, basically. They play that one live, like, at the start of the show, every show, basically. So, yeah, Torture, number 2. But that leaves one. Yeah. Number 1, 2004's The Wretched Spawn. 13 tracks of disgusting, ferocious death metal. In my opinion, this is the best Cannibal Corpse record all around. It's pretty fucking crazy. It's pretty good. Corpse Grinder sounds at its best on this album. The speed and intensity is cranked even higher than it was before this. And the catchiness of the songs, especially with Nothing Left to Mutilate. And my favorite Cannibal Corpse song of all time, the Wretched Spawn title track. Other songs like Slain, based on High Plains Drifter, which is a fantastic western. Frantic Disembowelment, Festering in the Crypts, Decency Defiled, and basically the whole fucking record drives this one to be probably one of my favorite albums of all time, and my favorite Cannibal Corpse album in the discography. Yeah, one of the finest death metal albums of all time, as it just took everything death metal was doing beforehand, even brutal death metal, and just cranking it, basically. And they actually say that that's what they try to do in the video. They're trying to, like, embolden their sound by creating, like, a faster riffage and more down-tuned shit, and they really did it. Honestly, they really took it, and they knocked it out of the park with that one. That one was fucking great, and they haven't topped it. They haven't topped it at all. But, yeah, that's how I rank Cannibal Corpse. Hope everyone liked it, and I will see everyone whenever I decide to upload again, which in the future will probably be next week, but Yeah. Till next time.